I did 300K my mom's house, my car, Leona car, my car, 2 boats. That's just 2 boats. That is 635K, yeah.
Before the bankruptcy rumors hit, Travis Hunter was all up on the internet flexing. But now, Stephen Smith is calling him out for making poor financial moves.
The big issue I have is with Travis Hunter. What in God's name would make you think that that's a good thing to tell the world?
And while it might be his wife's current scandal that pushed things over the edge, Stephen says the blame still falls squarely on Travis.
She's a young lady. Mistakes happen.
So what really caused Travis Hunter's financial collapse, and how exactly is his wife tied to it? Let me break it down for you. The Heisman hero's financial empire begins to crumble. Travis Hunter, for those who might be living under a rock, is the Jacksonville Jaguars' prized possession, a 22-year-old two-way player who was drafted as the #2 overall pick in the 2025 NFL Draft. This young man wasn't just any ordinary college football star. He was a generational talent who managed to excel at both wide receiver and cornerback for the Colorado Buffaloes, a feat so rare that it hadn't been accomplished at this level since Charles Woodson back in 1997. But here's where the story takes a darker turn, folks. While Travis was busy making history on the football field, collecting accolades like the Heisman Trophy in December 2024, and signing a massive 4-year rookie contract worth $46.65 million with a $30.6 million signing bonus, there were storm clouds gathering on the horizon that would soon threaten to wash away everything he had worked so hard to achieve. The center of this brewing financial catastrophe, none other than his wife, Leanna Lene, whose own scandals and alleged financial demands have reportedly left Hunter's bank account looking more barren than a desert in the middle of summer. And when Stephen Smith, the man who never minces words when it comes to calling out athletes for their poor life choices, starts weighing in on your personal life, you know things have gotten serious.
I don't believe that about Leanna 1 second. And I don't want to hear anything about anything that she may have done years ago. She's a young lady. Come on, y'all. You understand what I'm saying? She ain't some seasoned, grown woman who's experienced and living her life and, manipulating things. And she's a young lady. Mistakes happen.
Now that might sound like Stephen Smith is defending the couple, but trust me, when you dig deeper into what he's been saying across multiple platforms and shows, the picture becomes much more complex and concerning. Smith has been one of the most vocal critics of Hunter's relationship choices, particularly when it comes to the financial implications of marrying without a prenuptial agreement. The financial warning signs were there from the very beginning, but like so many young athletes who suddenly find themselves with more money than they've ever seen in their lives, Hunter seemed to ignore every red flag that was waving in his face. Reports indicate that Hunter and Lenny married in May 2025 without signing a prenuptial agreement, a decision that has had financial experts and sports analysts shaking their heads in disbelief. To put this into perspective, we're talking about a young man who went from being a college student with limited financial resources to suddenly having access to tens of millions of dollars. And instead of protecting that wealth through proper legal channels, he chose to enter into a marriage contract that could potentially cost him half of everything he's worked for. But the lack of a prenup was just the tip of the iceberg when it came to Hunter's questionable financial decisions. The spending spree that followed his NFL contract signing was nothing short of spectacular and spectacularly irresponsible. Hunter reportedly spent approximately $600,000 on luxury vehicles for Lene, including a custom black Mercedes-Benz AMG G63 Brabus 800, valued at over $200,000 that he surprised her with during their wedding reception. The extravagant spending didn't stop there. The couple purchased a $3.275 million mansion in a gated community in Jacksonville, Florida, just weeks after their wedding. This 13-room, 7-bedroom property spans 7.5 acres and includes luxury amenities that most people can only dream of: a pool, tennis court, 4-car garage, and expansive grounds that scream money, money, money. Then there was the engagement ring, reportedly valued at $100,000, the lavish honeymoon in Turks and Caicos that exceeded $20,000, excluding travel costs, and a seemingly endless parade of expensive gifts that had financial advisors across the country pulling their hair out in frustration. Stephen Smith, who has built his career on not just analyzing sports, but also educating young athletes about the pitfalls of sudden wealth, has been particularly vocal about Hunter's financial recklessness. During multiple segments on his show, Smith has expressed concern about the trajectory of Hunter's spending habits and the potential long-term consequences. The warning signs are everywhere, folks. Financial experts had been sounding the alarm bells about Hunter's spending habits almost from the moment he signed his NFL NFL contract. A renowned divorce attorney, James Sexton, even publicly offered free prenup agreements to the entire 2025 NFL draft class, specifically citing Hunter's marriage as a cautionary tale. But perhaps the most telling indicator of the financial storm that was brewing came from the online speculation about Lene's motivations. The internet had been buzzing with accusations that she was nothing more than a gold digger who had targeted Hunter for his wealth potential. Critics pointed to her $sign tattoo on her ring finger, her initial reluctance to respond to Hunter's social media messages until his football career took off, and her apparent comfort with being showered with expensive gifts. The mathematics of Hunter's spending were truly staggering when you broke them down. Hunter himself admitted to spending over $635,000 in various purchases during his early career, including $300,000 for his mother's house, over $250,000 on vehicles for himself and Lene, nearly $80,000 on boats, and countless other expenses that were adding up faster than he could keep track of. What made this situation even more concerning was the context in which these purchases were being made. This wasn't a veteran NFL player with a proven track record and multiple contracts under his belt. This was a rookie who hadn't even played a single professional game yet. Every dollar he was spending was based on projected future earnings that could disappear in an instant due to injury, poor performance, or any number of other factors that could derail an NFL career. Stephen Smith, with his decades of experience covering professional sports, understood better than most just how quickly things could go wrong for a young athlete. His warnings weren't just about the immediate financial impact of Hunter's spending, they were about the long-term implications of establishing unsustainable financial habits and lifestyle expectations.
You're about to go into the National Football League. That's what you're about to do. You're about to get paid. In my eyes, this should be your most selfish time. You need to think about the people that you're involving in your life.
Smith's advice about being selfish with your money and careful about the people in your inner circle was particularly relevant to Hunter's situation. The financial obligations that came with maintaining Lene's lifestyle were creating pressure that could potentially influence every major decision Hunter would make throughout his career. And disaster, my friends, was exactly what was heading Hunter's way, like a freight train with broken brakes. The foundation for financial catastrophe had been laid with every expensive purchase, every ignored warning sign, and every decision to prioritize short-term gratification over long-term financial security. The spending spree was just beginning. The scandals were about to explode across every social media platform imaginable, and Stephen Smith was preparing to deliver some of the most scathing commentary of his career about a young athlete's fall from grace. The scandal tsunami that destroyed everything. The disaster began to unfold in December 2024, right around the time when Hunter should have been celebrating the pinnacle of his college career. On December 14, 2024, Hunter won the Heisman Trophy, becoming the first primarily wide receiver to claim the award and the first true two-way player since Charles Woodson in 1997. This should have been the greatest moment of his young life, the culmination of years of hard work and dedication, but instead, it became the catalyst for a scandal that would ultimately threaten his entire financial future. The first red flag came during the actual Heisman ceremony itself. Leanna Lene's subdued reaction during Hunter's victory became a viral moment for all the wrong reasons. Video footage showed her appearing hesitant to stand and celebrate when Hunter's name was announced, requiring what appeared to be prompting from Colorado coach Deion Sanders to show proper enthusiasm for her fiance's historic achievement.
His name was called. I instantly was gonna, if you watch the video, you can see me but his mom didn't get up. So I was like, oh, maybe I don't get up, maybe I just sit here with her. So I sat there and then y'all said Coach Prime had to tell me to get up. No, he didn't. He said, go get him. Go get your man. And once Travis stood up, but he didn't have to do that because I was gonna do that anyways. As soon as I seen Travis get up, then I thought it was appropriate to stand up, greet him, congratulate him.
But that lackluster public reaction was just the appetizer for the main course of chaos that was about to be served. Within days of the Heisman ceremony, old videos and photos began surfacing online that painted a very different picture of Leanna Lene than the supportive girlfriend narrative that had been carefully crafted. The scandal truly exploded when a YouTuber released a video claiming that Lene had worked as a stripper at an Atlanta club when she was 19 years old. The allegations included claims that she had been employed at venues that required workers to be 21 or older for bartending positions, contradicting her story that she had worked as a bartender rather than as a dancer.
This YouTuber here exposed the fact that Travis Hunter's girlfriend worked at a strip club, but in what capacity? Was she a stripper? or did she have other roles?
The financial implications of these allegations were immediate and severe. In today's NFL, where players' marketability and endorsement potential are directly tied to their public image, any scandal involving a player's significant other can cost millions in lost opportunities. Major brands that had been considering endorsement deals with Hunter began to distance themselves from the controversy, unwilling to associate their products with the ongoing drama. But the stripper allegations were just the beginning of what would become an avalanche of damaging revelations. Multiple videos surfaced showing what appeared to be Lene in compromising situations with other men, including footage from 2020 to 2021 that allegedly showed her twerking on other men at parties, being intimate with someone else, and responding to what were described as sneaky link messages. The most damaging piece of evidence came in the form of leaked Snapchat videos that allegedly showed Lene in bed with another man, content that was dated to around 2021. While defenders argued that this footage predated her official relationship with Hunter, the timeline confusion created a perfect storm of speculation and doubt about the authenticity of their relationship. The financial damage from these scandals was immediate and severe. Hunter deactivated his Instagram account as the backlash intensified, cutting off what could have been lucrative social media endorsement opportunity. In today's NFL, where players can earn hundreds of thousands or even millions of dollars through sponsored social media posts, this was like voluntarily cutting off a major revenue stream at the exact moment when he needed it most. But Hunter came to his wife's defense, saying,
"What was they expecting her to do?"
I don't have to decide I know I don't have to defend myself in no clowns. I'm not defending myself. I'm defending my girl. Cause she's not gonna get on here and talk. She just hurt. You know, she upstairs. She been crying all day. You know, cause people trying to attack her character. Like, they don't know her. They ain't never talked to her before. So I'm gonna protect my girl.
Hunter's emotional defense of Lene revealed just how deeply the scandals were affecting both of them. But it also showed a young man who was making financial decisions based on emotion rather than logic. When you're spending hundreds of thousands of dollars to make someone happy while they're facing serious allegations about their past, you're not thinking like a businessman. You're thinking like someone who's about to lose everything. The situation became even more complicated when rumors began circulating that Lene was pregnant, potentially adding another layer of financial obligation to an already precarious situation. Pregnancy rumors, combined with the ongoing scandals and the lack of a prenuptial agreement, created a perfect storm of financial vulnerability for Hunter.
Anyway, pray for my man Travis Hunter. There's rumors that his current girl is pregnant, but you know that's only rumors. It came out a month ago. People saying that their wedding, she seemed like she had a baby bump.
Stephen Smith wasn't the only media personality expressing concern about Hunter's situation. Former NFL players like Dez Bryant and Bow Wow publicly advised Hunter to end the relationship, warning him that he was putting his entire career and financial future at risk for someone who might not have his best interests at heart. But as devastating as all of this financial carnage was, it was nothing compared to what was coming next. Because just when it seemed like things couldn't get any worse for Travis Hunter, the ultimate financial nightmare was about to unfold, one that would threaten not just his current wealth, but potentially every dollar he would ever earn in his NFL career. The scandals, the spending, the poor decisions, they were all leading up to a financial catastrophe so severe that even Stephen Smith, who had seen it all in his decades covering professional sports, would be left shaking his head in disbelief at just how quickly a promising young athlete could lose everything. The financial collapse and industry warnings, the warning signs that had been building throughout Hunter's early career finally reached a crescendo when the sports and financial world began to take notice of what was becoming an unsustainable trajectory. But to understand how quickly everything unraveled, you have to go back to the very beginning of this relationship and examine the red flags that financial experts now point to as obvious indicators of what was coming. Hunter and Lene's relationship timeline itself became a source of controversy that would later fuel concerns about her true motivations. The couple first connected when Hunter slid into Lene's DMs in 2020, but she left him on read for 2 months. When confronted about this delay during the height of their public scrutiny, Lene offered what many viewed as a convenient explanation.
The real reason Travis sat in my DM for 2 months is because he DM'd me when he had a girlfriend, and her name was in his bio, so I instantly knew he had a partner. So I exited the message and he sat there until he was single. I don't do home wrecking. I'm not a side piece. I don't stand for any of those things. I support women. So I would never do that to another woman.
However, critics were quick to point out inconsistencies in this narrative. If Hunter wasn't her type, as she had claimed in multiple videos, and if she truly had no interest in him initially, why was she monitoring his relationship status closely enough to know exactly when he became single? The timeline raised uncomfortable questions about whether Lene had been strategically waiting for the right moment to engage with someone whose football career was beginning to gain serious momentum. Lene would defend herself, saying that she wasn't talking about physical attraction when she said Travis wasn't his type.
When I said he wasn't my type, I did not mean attractiveness. I don't have a physical type, period. No two men that I previously dated looked the same. My first one was a white cowboy. Second one was a Mexican soccer player. Then I dated a black man who's a SoundCloud rapper. And then Travis. So I have never dated the same type physically.
The relationship progressed rapidly once they finally connected in early 2022. They went Instagram official in March 2022, with Hunter already beginning to shower her with expensive gifts. By this point, Hunter was transferring to Colorado, and his NIL value was skyrocketing, making him one of the most marketable players in college football. The timing wasn't lost on financial experts who were already beginning to raise eyebrows about the correlation between Hunter's rising earning potential and Lene's sudden romantic interest. The red flags multiplied when details emerged about their early relationship dynamics. Hunter himself admitted to spending enormous sums during this period, revealing the extent of his financial generosity in a way that shocked even his supporters.
I did $300K my mom's house, my car, Leona car, my car, 2 boats. That's just 2 boats. That is $635K, yeah.
The casual way Hunter rattled off these expenses, $635,000 in what appeared to be a relatively short time frame, demonstrated a fundamental lack of understanding about the value of money and the importance of financial planning. But what was even more concerning to financial advisors was the pattern of spending that emerged. Nearly every major purchase seemed to revolve around Lene or their relationship, from the expensive cars to the lavish lifestyle that she had quickly become accustomed to. By early 2025, just months after signing his massive NFL contract, reports began surfacing suggesting that Hunter was facing serious cash flow problems that went far beyond normal rookie spending habits. The mathematics of Hunter's financial situation were becoming increasingly dire, with sources close to the situation indicating that his spending had so dramatically outpaced his actual cash flow that he was essentially living paycheck to paycheck, despite having signed one of the largest rookie contracts in NFL history. When the gold digger accusations against Lene reached a fever pitch in late 2024 and early 2025, Hunter's defense of her revealed just how deeply he had bought into a narrative that financial experts found deeply troubling. His response to critics showed a young man who was either unwilling or unable to see the warning signs that were obvious to everyone else.
So, it ain't about the money, chat. It's about the girl you have with you. She brings value to me. She makes me money and she makes her own money. So if we gonna say she a gold digger, make sure you say I'm a gold digger too. Make sure you say I'm using her too, because she got money. She been had money.
This statement, while intended to defend Lene, actually revealed several concerning aspects of the financial dynamic. Hunter's claim that Lene makes him money suggested that their relationship had become transactional in nature, with financial considerations playing a central role in how they viewed the partnership. The breaking point appeared to come when rumors began circulating in August 2025 about potential divorce proceedings, with some sources suggesting that Lene was positioning herself for a settlement that could potentially reach astronomical proportions. Without a prenuptial agreement to protect his assets, Hunter faced the very real possibility of losing half of everything he had earned during their marriage, which would include a significant portion of his NFL contract earnings. The timeline of their relationship, from Lene's initial 2-month delay in responding to Hunter's messages, to the rapid escalation of expensive gifts once his earning potential became clear, to the timing of their engagement just as he was entering the NFL, painted a picture that many financial experts found deeply troubling. The pattern suggested someone who was very aware of the financial implications of their romantic choices and who had positioned herself to maximize the benefits of Hunter's success. What particularly concerned NFL veterans and financial experts was how the relationship dynamics from the very beginning had established unsustainable financial expectations. When someone starts a relationship by requiring expensive gifts and lifestyle upgrades just to maintain interest, those expectations don't diminish over time. They escalate. The Jacksonville Jaguars organization, while publicly supportive supportive of their investment were privately expressing concern about the off-field distractions that were affecting their high-profile rookie. Team sources indicated that Hunter's performance in practice had become inconsistent, with coaches noting that he seemed distracted and was making mental errors that hadn't been characteristic of his college play. The financial stress began manifesting in other ways as well. Hunter's social media presence, which had once been carefully curated to showcase his success and relationship, became increasingly erratic. He would post lavish lifestyle content one day, then delete everything and go silent for weeks. This pattern of behavior suggested someone who was struggling to maintain the facade of financial stability while dealing with very real problems behind the scenes. Legal experts who had been following the situation noted that Hunter's financial troubles weren't just about overspending. They were compounded by the complex web of potential legal liabilities that had emerged from various scandals and controversies. The leaked content involving Lene had resulted in threats of lawsuits from multiple parties, and defending against even frivolous legal claims can cost hundreds of thousands of dollars in attorney fees. The final wake-up call came when reports suggested that Hunter was being advised to consider bankruptcy protection as a way to reorganize his debts and protect himself from potential divorce-related financial obligations. The irony was devastating. Here was a young man who had been gifted with extraordinary athletic ability and had earned tens of millions of dollars before his 23rd birthday. Yet he was potentially facing financial ruin because of relationship decisions that could have been avoided with proper planning and advice. What made Hunter's potential financial collapse particularly tragic was that it was entirely preventable. The red flags had been there from the very beginning, from Lene's strategic timing in responding to his messages, to her early admissions that he wasn't her type, to the rapid escalation of expensive gifts once his earning potential became clear. Every warning sign had been waved by people who genuinely cared about his success, and every piece of advice that could have protected him had been offered by those with experience in these matters. The sports world watched with a mixture of fascination and horror as one of its brightest young stars potentially faced financial ruin, not because of career-ending injury or failed investments, but because of fundamental decisions about relationships and financial protection that had been made without adequate consideration of the long-term consequences. Decisions that trace back to those first ignored DMs and the suspicious timeline that followed. If you enjoyed watching this video, click on one of the boxes playing on your screen to watch more similar content.